Hey Internet, it's Jesse at Ish Guitars. Stick around at the end of this video. We're going to play this bass and bring you through the whole kit and caboodle of sounds out of it. First, I want to talk about it a little bit. This is a private stock PRS short scale Hollowbody bass. It's kind of a straightforward name, but that's all they've ever really called it. Quick history on this guy. It was originally built for Gary Tallent, Bruce Springsteen's bassist. He's a well-known short scale bass player. He's had a signature Spectre for quite a long time. We're a big Spectre dealer too, so very familiar with that bass. But he wanted this Hollowbody out of PRS. So they put this single Bartolini humbucker in here and short scale on what's essentially a Hollowbody 2 body. Now this was back in about 2013 that they built that bass for him. In 2016 for the PRS private stock 20th anniversary. This was the first bass that they actually did. They built, I want to say 10 of them for the month of February, January or February, when they released their private stock of the month, guitar of the month they called it, for the private stock anniversary. So that's when this bass was first really introduced to the public. Since then, there's only been a couple of them built. I think More Guitars had one, I think Will Cut Guitars had one, a couple of our signature dealer friends. But this bass, I've been trying to get my hands on one for a long time. And this one was actually built for the PRS experience in, 2 years ago. And it actually missed the experience because there was so many complexities in building it. And so we got it afterwards, but it got cracked in shipping. The top right here, something must have gotten stepped on or hit really hard on the knobs. And so it busted right through all the spalted maple that was right there. So the funny part about it is, it actually made it into the calendar this year, the 2020 calendar. So for January, you see the short scale Hollowbody bass that's there. That's actually this bass before it got cracked in shipping. So what they did is they cut the neck out and they reused the neck so you can see that the neck is exactly the same. And of course all the electronics and all that stuff. But we rebuilt the body on it. So this is the actual bass with the rebuilt body. When we rebuilt the body, Paul Miles, the private stock director, and I were messing with all this crazy spalted maple staining ideas. And so this was the first one where we actually usually we're using like a toner or something in the finish. And this one we actually did this stain. This was Paul Miles' idea. I can't take credit for this. And so this is actually a burst inside the spalt, which is the coolest thing ever. So they take like a clear painter's tape and go over all these spalt areas. They use an X-Acto knife to follow by hand all of these little spalt lines that are in here, and then actually use stain. And you can see it's a little bit lighter in the center. So they bursted it inside there, which is so hard to do because you have to do that with sandpaper. So you've got to get a little bit of sandpaper and sand that out to get it to burst like that when you're finishing it. So absolutely incredible work. I mean, you can see too all these really cool spots where the spalting comes into the edge of the binding and just incredibly detailed. Did an ash body. This is a one-piece, kind of a Hollowbody 1 style if you're familiar with PRS guitars. Have a one-piece back on the Hollowbody. So this is Hollowbody 1 style. It's got this one-piece giant thick ash back that gets carved out. So you can see from the side how thick that bass actually is probably about that thick when you take into account the carving that's in it. So although it doesn't look like anything too crazy, it's about the size of a Custom 24 or a Hollowbody 2, but really thick and deep like that with this really super, super, super deep carve. So actually, even though this is an amazing bass, they're not taking any more orders for them. This is going to be one of the last ones you can buy. The last one they're building is actually for me. So it's a custom build I'm working on with Paul Miles right now. But they've stopped production of these. So if you want one, you should buy this one because you're not going to be able to buy them, you're not going to be able to order them anymore, and they're very tough to find. There's only a couple of them that are out in the wild. So it's a really neat bass. This was designed by the private stock director, Paul Miles. He's a bassist. He plays a Spectre also too. He has an old NS2 Brooklyn era from the 80s, pretty close to, I have one also, pretty close to my serial number. And so he's the one that really went to town designing this bass. And it definitely shows, you can tell it's a bass that was designed by a bassist. It's a really, really neat instrument. Flame maple neck on this guy too, of course. There's Paul Miles' signature right there, the private stock director, and Paul Reed Smith, of course, on the back of the headstock there. So without further ado, let me give you a play. Okay, so this bass sounds great with a pick. It's a short scale, of course, so it sounds killer. We're gonna start there. Don't flame me, bassists. I know no one wants to use a pick on talk bass at least, but you know, as we know, it's in most of rock and roll. So this is a passive circuit. We've got our Bartolini humbucker, so we've just got volume and tone all the way up right now, and that's it. Let's give it a shot. Simple as that. Same thing with a little bit of single coil action here. You'll hear, of course, it's a little bit quieter because we're only using half of the pickup, but it gives it a little more airiness, breathiness, kind of like a jazz bass sort of thing, not quite as thick. Moving to our fingerstyle stuff. Really fat, warm bass. This specific one with the flame maple neck and ebony fretboard gives it nice articulation. You hear that crispiness as I'm kind of smacking the springs in between. And then, you know, just fat, warm sound out of the big ash body, but it's got that airiness and clarity that you'd expect from ash and a hollow body. Once again, that with some single coil sounds. Similar kind of vibe there. Even rolled off, this bass can sound great too. Rolling down the tone knob there. Freaking fat. Exactly what you want. But we can also still shred a little bit on this guy too. Sounds great for everything. This is a cool bass. And if you don't buy it, you're kind of silly because you're not going to be able to get another one. There you go. Private stock, Hollowbody short scale bass. Like, subscribe, follow us, do the whole deal. We got crazy stuff coming all the time. See you guys.